Alright, what I'm going to do today is help out some of these settlements. Go deal with some of these issues that they're having. In this case, it's just a guy with a couple of kids trying to work their little potato plants, and these super mutants won't leave them alone. Come and take all their stuff and wreck their house and probably tear them apart and throw them in meat bags if they catch them, type of thing. And I'm like, really? That's no life to live. So this is a good thing. On the way over here, I did see this place with the little sentry bot in a cage. Last time, as soon as I walked up on something like this, sentry bot came out firing, hitting me in the face with missiles. This time, I'm guessing there's something in here that triggers him to wake up or something, right?
Nice.
You sure know your way around a bobby pin.
Like that, Piper? Okay. There he goes. And, okay. That's that, I guess. Did you say low-level sentry bot or something? I think we need a new difficulty setting. They need to come out with a legendary difficulty setting on their next patch or with their next DLC or something, because yeah, that's a little ridiculous. It's hard to take a sentry bot seriously. You can just casually hip fire him and walk off, you know. That's cool. I'll take his stuff, though. He's just a regular sentry bot, so I'm guessing we are a little farther north in the map. From what I understand, enemies essentially scale to difficulty as you move south. It's kind of a top-to-bottom thing. I played another game like that, actually, that had zones. It was really cool enemy scaling by zones, is you had to level into each area. You could go in at level 9 and fight level 10 enemies and maybe get away with it. Sometimes not always, because the way they had it balanced so well. It was a game called Divinity 2. And if it wasn't so big, and it wasn't so vague and full of a lot of grinding type stuff, because there is an almost MMO type feel to it at times. I would even do a let's play of that, even though it's a game no one's heard of and nobody would probably watch it. It's such a wonderful, beautiful. I'd recommend it to anybody that plays RPGs. Divinity 2. Xbox only? Let's put it this way. I went and got another Xbox, even though I kind of boycotted Xbox. I went and got an old 360 just to play that game. And, I want to play Jade Empire too, by the way. I do want to play that just for myself. But anyway, so I kind of got it for that too. But it was really so I could play Divinity 2. But that's how good it is. It's, it's amazing. Anyway. But it had that kind of system. Similar to this is where you went, the enemies, so you kind of level into areas. You know, if you push a little too far south, you might run into some big nasty that one-shots you and you realize, probably ought to level up a little bit more. That's at least the general idea, I think. Alright, so we'll go deal with these super mutants and get them off these settlers' backs so they can at least get a little bit of breathing room, right? Since it's going to be a bit of this, what we'll do is we'll help out each settlement, and then we'll do a little building, show you what I come up with. My main concern is at least get walls up, get up some kind of defenses, so that if they do need some help when I spawn in, we're not just mobbed in the middle of the compound by like 50 super mutants carrying mini nukes or something, you know. We want to at least have some way to... I think that's the key to defending settlements. Not like it's any kind of rocket science or anything. But of the one or two problems I've had at a settlement, one was having some way OP super mutants at a lower level come through, and I had no walls up. And so they were basically able to just run through the... I had some, but they were able to get in from a couple of spots, and they were just kind of running amok just everywhere and just kicking our ass, really. Bottom line. I just heard a raider. I hope Piper can handle the raider. I'm going to deal with this super mutant down here. But anyway, so we'll at least get some basic defenses up, and then worry about setting up some of the finer things, you know, like little stores and shops and extras like lights and the ceiling. We've got to have ceiling fans. Ceiling fans, they're kind of mandatory with me. I love ceiling fans in this game. I have a problem with ceiling fans. They have to go, like, everywhere. I have to have at least one, if not 10, in each settlement. I don't know what my problem is. Gotta love it. We'll do a bit of that. So, as per usual, I'll talk about just whatever. We'll just kind of just get off into stuff. I had actually even thought about maybe not including some of this. I haven't really been cutting corners on the playthrough. We've kind of been doing everything. I don't suffer you guys through all my building and stuff. A lot of times it's usually come up with something, don't like it, scrap the whole thing and start over. I've spent hours, like 6, 7, 8 hours on some of these settlements, just playing, just saying, I wonder if this will work, and then literally build the entire settlement and say, nah, I don't like it, and reload my last save. I've done that several times, and it's fun. I don't mind. It's cool. But yeah, I haven't suffered you guys through that, but as you know, we've been pretty much doing everything else. But I had considered just doing these, and basically coming back, okay, I got a few settlements dealt with, because for any of you guys that are in any of the gaming groups, like, you know, Facebook and stuff like that, you know that there's all the memes out there with, like, Preston Garvey stalking you, like the dude from The Shining, you know, putting his axe through the door and poking his face through and saying, you know, it's Preston Garvey's face saying, another settlement needs your help. And you almost feel stalked like that, right? Because there's so much of it. I don't want to bore you guys with this, but I would like to say something on that. Actually, I would like to give my 2 cents about that, because I want to not view it as just mindless fetch 'em quests. Skyrim was guilty of that a lot of times, and things that really didn't really have any purpose. They didn't serve any smaller or greater good. They were just things to do. Go to this zombie-filled cave and grab this shit for no reason. I mean, there was literally a lot of that, you know. But the world was beautiful enough with the dynamic music as you walk around and run into bears and trolls and stuff. I mean, it was cool enough, and it was fun enough to where you could just explore, and that was fun in and of itself. So it didn't really matter what you were doing, you know. I'll give it that. Listen to this dude with his mutant Zilla howl. I don't know what you'd call that. They are actually kind of cool, mutant hounds. But anyway, so I'm trying not to view them that way, right? Although this world is pretty much the same. It's got its own interesting stuff that you find around every corner. So much to explore and do and stuff. So it really doesn't matter what I'm doing as I'm running around shooting things. It really, I mean, I could look at it that way, but I'm like, I would like to see a purpose in it. And obviously the purpose is just to help settlers, and that is enough in and of itself. And then I step back and check this out. And tell me if you guys see this, all right? In a broader picture, maybe trying to put myself, not that I can, but trying to put myself in the mind of the writers, and thinking, okay, what was their scope here? Because this game obviously has a pretty big scope, and we don't know where they're going to go with DLCs and stuff. And some stuff, which may even seem annoying now, may have an actual serious purpose later. Okay, so some things might be a little more mandatory now than they seem. You never know. You never know what they might do with DLC. They may surprise us with some stuff. But regardless, I'm like, well, what might the writers be thinking? And then I stepped back and I thought about it, and it dawned on me. And this had a lot to do with my last conversation with Sean. When we finally, well, we cut him off, he cut us off, whatever. Now we're enemies with the Institute, blah, blah, blah. But he said he had come up to the surface, because that was the whole thing. Like, why is he meeting us at the CIT ruins? Why is he not summoning us back to the Institute, right? And, well, it was really because that was going to be the cutoff point where we made our choice. We either keep working with the Institute or we don't. I think we probably could have worked with them a little longer, and then crossed them out later. And that might have been slick, but the price is too high. I couldn't stomach it. I just walked out of there feeling like I needed a shower every time I talked to anybody there. So I wasn't going to do that anymore. Maybe in future playthroughs. I'll play it differently in the future, I'm sure. But that's just how it went down this time. So if a lot of you guys haven't made this choice, that's really a good thing, because now you get to see the way this turns out if you make these decisions. So that's all good. It's all good. And like I said, I'll make different decisions later. Along the same lines, I don't think I can ever deviate from this particular moral path which I've chosen here, and I'll tell you why. This is something that I see. All right, so let's make 2 camps. You've got the Institute over here, and then you've got, well, basically everyone else on the surface. Whether it be the Brotherhood of Steel, although they're not so different from the Institute in a lot of ways. In some ways, maybe worse. In some ways, not necessarily better, but just a little different. But overall, kind of the same in a way. All right, then you have the Minutemen, and the Minutemen, to me, represents the down-to-earth average guy kind of caught in the middle. You're trying to get by, work the land, and on one side, you have the evil empire over here, trying to play God and make decisions for the whole world, the same world that they destroyed, right? I'll get back into that in a minute, right? And then on the other hand, over here, you have everything else in the environment that's trying to kill you. If it's not something mutated popping out of the ground, trying to kill you while you're over here trying to just work your carrots and your potato plants, right? Then it's super mutants coming through and trying to steal all your stuff, or raiders, other people who have decided that the best hope for humanity is to kill off the rest of humanity, except for those who you want to side with, because what all they want to do is kill off the rest of humanity, right? And hang them on chains and stuff as ornaments and trophies because they're a bunch of freaks, and do a bunch of dope and stay high until everyone dies. Okay, so they're really kind of caught in the middle, really surrounded, and it's hostile, right? And so, okay, listening to what Sean said, tell me if this isn't pretty much the gist of it. With the Minutemen, which are really actually the backbone of the story. I know you leave the vault to go find the kidnapper of your son and the murderer of your spouse. That's the driving force that gets you out of the vault and makes you puff your chest out and put on a stiff upper lip and grab your nearest weapon and get out there and kick the world's ass until you get some answers type thing. That's the driving force. But what you find when you actually get out here is a world that needs to be settled, right, in order to give you a place to live in the first place. You can go find somebody, but once you got them, if you don't have any place to go, you're a dead man walking anyway, whether you got your child or not. You might as well have gotten shot in the face along with your husband. So there has to be some way to salvage this world up here that science has destroyed. Well, those same scientists that destroyed the world in the first place, you know what this is? This is a testimony of their guilt. All right, this is, if you were to take all of the sins of the scientific community, not just the Institute, although the Institute is one of their brain trusts, right? But, you can go to Vault-Tec, you can go to all the nuclear physicists, you can go to all these different people who did things, and whatever their motives were to help humanity or to do devious, twisted, sick shit like they're doing down there in the Institute right now, and calling it something else. Doesn't change what it is, regardless of how you label it. You can sugarcoat something all you want. You can sugarcoat a dog turd. It's not cake. It's still a dog turd, And so, regardless of what they call it, they've done what they've done. Well, this is a testimony to their guilt, is what the surface looks like. And so what does Sean do? He comes up and he says, I'm glad I was spared this, and we're so superior down there in the Institute, and this, it truly is a wasteland. There is no hope for any of this. And so he's written off the whole surface. That includes everyone in it. And true enough, we could do without the super mutants, right? Which their creation wasn't their fault either. That's another testimony to science, right? The science of Fallout, anyway, is what I'm talking about. And science in our real world that we live in today isn't a whole lot different in a lot of ways. But that's another issue. All right. Dealt with their super mutants, so let me go report back in, and then we'll do a little building, because this is just totally wide open. Look at this. Anyway, all right, so this is a testimony of their guilt. So they've written off the surface. So on one hand, you have the Minutemen trying to scrape a living out of the surface here, and then on the Institute side, they would discard the surface completely. But not so much because it's an irradiated wasteland, but because it's a testimony to what science got them.
That either means you haven't gone after those super mutants yet, or good news?
Those super mutants won't be bothering you again.
I guess you were the right person for the job, huh? Thanks, friend. By the way, we've decided to support the Minutemen. We've got to help each other if we want things to get better.
Right on. Well, you're not going to be helping anybody if we don't do something about this wide open ass little front yard you got here. All right, so I did a little work inside, gave them a TV for the kids. Got the little playroom here set up. Anyway, I did keep their swing over there also. I noticed they had a tree swing. I thought that was really cool. But I got them walls, so there's really only one in, one out, pretty much. I don't know where the enemies might come from. Once I find that, I can move some of this stuff. Like if, say, they all come from this direction, I can move a missile launcher down here to add some a little extra support down here on this side. But for right now, I've pretty much got all the directions covered. I think I've got most of the holes plugged. This was hard around this tree. I think they're going to be able to slip in through that. I have a nasty feeling, so we'll see. This place has to get attacked to find out where it's weak. But got a few extra beds here. I think I can send some settlers here to kind of give the kids a break. Don't need them. It's good that they learn a little hard work and stuff. That's great. Learn to feed themselves. They're going to need that for the rest of their life. But on the same token, they don't need to do it all on their own. I got Dad manning the guard stations, and this is just fun. Anyway, all right, so this is the backbone of the world that science has written off. But here's the point. And losing sight of this is what makes all those other arguments seem semi-valid that the Institute might make with all their sugary, sweet, fancy speak, all right? This is the one argument which washes anything they might say, is to stop, step back, and look at this wasteland. Look at this map that we got right here and everything in it. The broken down buildings, all the mutated shit, all the irradiated stuff, all the destruction, all the burned up everything. You add all that up, and this is the result of their best efforts, science. And so they're going to take that same effort and that same type of thinking and try to come fix this mess that they created, and their way to fix it is to wash it away and blame it on somebody else. Essentially, they're just not going to take credit for they're too proud. And that's the problem. So the Minutemen are the really antithesis to that. They really are the backbone of the story. I understand Preston Garvey's, well, another settlement needs your help. Another settlement needs your help. You know, it really does. There's just that much of it. If we're going to create a network, a community where people can survive and maybe even thrive, this has to happen. And they need help. These people aren't soldiers. They're not geared to fight. They're geared to farm. They're geared to work. They're willing to eke out a living. But if they're getting killed, that's kind of hard to do, right?
I'm with the Minutemen. How can I help?
We got a nest of some nasty bugs just around the corner, and if they don't get cleaned out soon, we're gonna have a real problem. What's really too bad is it'd be a nice spot for a new settlement. And in fact, I know some folks that'd love to set up there if it was safe. If you can make sure the old workshop there is still in one piece, anyone who decides to move in later will be able to rebuild.
I already cleared that place out.
You serious? That's great news. By the way, we've decided to support the Minutemen. We gotta help each other if we want things to get better.
Right on. Well, that was fast, right? That's how I like it. Easy like that. There we go. All right, so this is kind of the same thing out in the open. At least they have some sort of high ground up here. A little bit, but the main thing was just to get a wall around the place. If there really is no inn, then you have enemies stuck outside the wall, and yeah, they can shoot missiles at your turrets and knock things down and to be a nuisance. But they just can't run through the middle of the place and just trample everything into the ground. So one way in, one way out is pretty much what I like to try to do. Once again, I don't know which direction they would attack from, although I would think it would come from one way or the other down the railroad tracks. That would be my guess. So that was my assumption. For all I know, they could come from behind the place or something. I don't know. Like I said, the place needs to get attacked first to know where to center all my defenses. Play through the game a few times and get familiar with all the settlements and where enemies tend to attack from, and setting them up is probably a lot easier. But this is fun too. Just trying to figure it out and say, okay, well, they might come from here, so what do I do there? And need to set up defenses here, and I really enjoy that part of it. All right, we've been to Grey Garden. Now it's time to go help them out. This isn't a settlement yet. I've had this on my quest log forever. The robots. This place is actually really cool. Robots running around snipping away at plants. Awesome. I don't think I've met this robot yet.
Welcome to Grey Garden, darling. This is the Commonwealth's first and only hydroponics facility run entirely by robots.
That's pretty ingenious. I bet you can work around the clock.
And you're happy working those kinds of hours?
Of course, darling. Our unique hierarchy allows for constant operation. You see, there are two kinds of robots here. The worker drones carry out labor and maintenance. We supervisors, that is myself, green and brown, possess sophisticated cognition processors. We are capable of complex analysis and decision-making, a testament to the genius of our creator, Dr. Edward Gray.
What became of Dr. Gray?
Like so many others, he died in the war. It was a terrible loss. Robotics and artificial intelligence were our creator's great passions, rivaled only by his love of television. Perhaps you've noticed that I possess a rather singular personality, as do the other supervisors.
You are quite the firecracker.
Well, it's definitely unique. Sort of hard to miss.
I'll take that as a compliment, darling. After all, the last thing any woman wants to be is ordinary. A few other things you should know. Talk to Green if you need supplies. If it's caps you require, Brown might have a few odd jobs. There's one other thing. A question, really. Tell me, darling, what do you think of the water around here?
I'm with the Minutemen. Did you need help with something?
Why, yes. That's what I was getting at, dear. The water. It's simply ghastly. Pressure's down. Radiation is up. Why, it's practically toxic. Just think what it must be doing to my skin. This will never do. If you Minutemen can lend us a hand, I'll be eternally grateful.
All right.
Marvelous. Simply marvelous. Most of our water comes from the old Weston plant, south of here. Such an eyesore. Be a dear and pay a visit, See what you can do. Maybe tidy up the place. It must be filthy. If you can get it working again, I'm sure I can come up with something for you.
I think this robot might have even been flirting with me. Awesome. So all these robots are taken after TV personalities. When we first got here, you had that one robot that thinks he's a game show host. All right, so the creator here was a TV fan. I remember exploring that house next door, which had a bunch of stuff in it too. It seemed like there was like a pretty impressive lab downstairs. And now I get why. This guy made his own robots and programmed them. So it doesn't take a mad scientist in the Institute to come up with some AI and some clever stuff. Now see, there's no harm in this. These robots are awesome. They tend their little plants and have their little unique characters, and I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
We've seen better days, hasn't it?
I don't think this guy's trying to take over the world with his gardening robots, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I might as well keep in mind, well, not like it's any different than what I always do anyway, but definitely keep in mind building materials of all kinds, because it looks like I'm going to need a lot of it. I might even be willing to buy a shipment of wood or maybe even steel, depending on if I need it.
Guess you showed them.
Actually, it'd be worth exploring this house again. Everything's probably respawned. I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe not the containers, but everything else. Is one of my merchants down here being harassed? I think so. Looks like a pack. I was about to say pack mule. Looks like a Brahmin. You're messing with the wrong person. Don't mess with my merchants. Don't mess with my provisioners. Oh, sorry, dude. I thought.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even tell you what I thought. My bad. Who's that raider you just shot? Well, whatever. Good riddance. Good job, dude. The provisioners aren't playing any games, man. Imagine if you had every settlement with a supply line between every settlement. How many merchants and pack mules and stuff you would have just randomly they'd be everywhere. Once again, getting back to my whole point, I don't know if really just to simplify, you have the Institute thinking that the surface is a waste. But the surface is a waste that they created, but it's really not a waste, right? But they've thrown it all away because it doesn't match their Aryan Nazi criteria for what they think, pure cleanliness should actually be in their spoiled, rotten little cell that they've created for themselves, and that they've been away from the real world for way too long down there, thinking things without any checks or balances. Imagine sitting down there for 200 years telling each other that a bunch of bad shit is right, and having no one to... It's kind of easy to win a debate when there's only one side, you know what I mean? But there's nothing there to... What was that, a legendary? Legendary deer, huh? Shouldn't have been attacking my follower. But anyway, so you have that one side, and then you have the Minutemen, which are the other. So the Minutemen really, like I say, they are kind of the foundation, really, of the story. It makes it necessary. And you notice, I mean, even having to build an army here to go attack the Institute really shows that they're really putting an emphasis on Preston Garvey coming and harassing you with, man, I need help with another settlement, right? Isn't an accident. It isn't just bad writing. It isn't just mindless fetch 'em quests. There's actually a point to it. That's all I'm saying. So, oh, I didn't hit the bomb. Are you serious? Come on. Come on. Come on. What? Take that, you bitch. I love pre-aim sniping their bombs and then completely missing like that. How embarrassing. Well, we had to do this before. My next playthrough, I'm not going to come explore every area in the game before getting into the main quest. And coming back to those exact same areas to do stuff. Like this right here.
Guess we scared them off.
I came through here and cleared these guys out a long time ago. Of course, it's a lot easier now, right? Are you serious? Sorry, I'm just shooting horrible here, man. This is bad. Leg shot. Oh, okay, how did that miss? Seriously.
Better than expected.
That didn't miss. Anybody else? I'm expecting some of those hounds, too. Gotta be at least a couple over here, right? Got him. That was a headshot, too. Take that. So I remember mentioning this a long time ago, and it's nice that this really has played into the whole game as a whole. Come out and I think to myself. And another criticism on the game is, you come out to go find your son, but then you find yourself getting preoccupied with going and collecting corn and copper and tin cans and stuff. And you know what? If you put it like that, it sounds bad. But really, to be honest, that's just a small part of all the collecting you do and why you collect it. The reason you're getting all that is to have food so that you can live and don't die. Pretty common sense to me, right? And the reason you collect all that stuff is so you can put up walls so mutants and ghouls and stuff don't run in, and so you don't die. Pretty common sense. And really, that one overriding factor that if you don't have a world that you can live in, I don't care how many of your missing family members you go find and bring them back, right? If you don't have a place to stay, if you don't have a world in which you can survive for more than 5 minutes, it's kind of pointless anyway, right? And so settling the land, what would you say, civilizing it a little bit, right? Getting rid of the raiders who are down to just kill and torture and maim everything and everybody, right? Getting rid of the super mutants who, man, they don't even know why they exist, really. They are well, certainly they're an abomination. Like I say, it's really not necessarily any fault of their own. They were created things, not much different than a robot with bad programming, right? Not really. Or those Brotherhood over there. Imagine that, another vertebrate flying away with its tail between its legs. Well, at least that one's not blowing up and trying to kill me in the process. Man, the Brotherhood's weak as wet toilet paper. They really are. And they don't see it either. Not a whole lot different than the Institute. They're such garbage, but they don't see it. Or if they do see it, they refuse to acknowledge it. I mean, the Brotherhood, it's like, how many times can you get your ass kicked without realizing that you might be garbage? you just might be bad, They don't see it. They just keep going in and getting their ass kicked. Every time they get their ass kicked, they say it's because they didn't have your tech. And so if they would have just had your tech and taken it out of your hands, they could have kicked your ass. So if they finally find the biggest gun, they might actually be able to beat somebody. Is that Brotherhood of Steel logic? Yeah, I can't respect that. How about a little skill? How about having a little bit of that first? Then go get all the fancy guns. Then go get all the stuff and actually be able to use it. I know they're supposed to train all the time and do all this and that and think of themselves as a modern army, but I'm not impressed. It's not just me. It's not just that my character can do a 1,000-man's job because we're the superhero of the wasteland, blah, blah, blah. I see everyone kicking their ass. It's like the Raiders look good when compared to the Brotherhood of Steel. The mutants look good. They're knocking their vertebrates out of the sky every 5 minutes. Every time you go downtown, what do you see? Well, there goes a vertibird blowing up. Oh, there's a vertibird coming at me to blow me up. Oh, great. Awesome. That's usually what you find. It's so sad. So I guess kind of the point of this, rather than, well, just filling dead space, like I say, we're just running around doing errands to help some of these settlements establish themselves. I mean, we don't want bad water rusting out our robot friends, right? Or making their plants taste bad or something. You know, we wouldn't want that, right? But I think really the whole point is loving these games. And then when I see something that, especially when in my gaming groups or on other YouTube videos or from some of these reviews, which I've gotten to the point where most game reviewers are just completely full of shit. They will cast something in a bad light based on it not being a title from one of their favorite developers, or it not being something that they're a fanboy of, or they're a fanboy of something else and the fanboys of that game said something bad about this game, so they have to go along with it. And they, you know, if you're going to give a review, the first professional standard to anyone giving a review is to give a non-biased one, right? First and foremost. Now, and I have seen some, and some guys who I honestly think are trying to be non-biased, they will paint something in a bad light because they got a bad impression and they just never got off of it. They couldn't see outside of that box, you know? And so what I'm trying to do, and being a fanboy, who am I to talk? Because really, I am admittedly looking for the bright side of the game because I want to enjoy it more. In other words, when I see something that seems illogical, that doesn't really go along with the whole RPG element of the game, maybe it's a big hole in the story, something that doesn't make sense, looks like an oversight on the part of the writers, things like that, which will happen. You know, it's human error, sure. But I try to find ways to either overlook that or explain it away, right? And I don't mind doing that because it makes the game fun for me, as far as that goes. Now, if I can't, if something in the writing is just bad, I mean, it's just simply bad. What's this? Patio furniture. I wonder if I can make those umbrella tables now. Hell yeah. I hope so. Maybe barbecue grills? Umbrella tables? Let me see, what else have I not been able to make but I've seen? Who knows? I'll have to look. I probably won't spend a lot of time on that type of stuff building. I'm going to take the materials I have to get walls up on these settlements. That's the most important thing right now. We'll get these settlements done and go back and talk to Preston Garvey and then see where that leaves us. I don't know how many we have to gather for ourselves to get enough people to go punch the Institute in the mouth, which is kind of the whole goal right here. Oh shit, there's 2 turrets. Wasn't even paying attention to my threat compass down there. But anyway, so I'm passing these along to you, just thoughts that I'm having, just for that reason. If these same things have bothered you, then this is how I either explain that or justify it or can view it in my own mind to make it more
Got it.
easier to swallow, you know, some of this stuff. Like, okay, I can look at Preston Garvey as being annoying. You can look at anything any way you want. You can perceive anything in any light and make it look bad if you choose to, or make it look good. Trying to do that, especially because I love the game, if no other reason, I guess it takes loving a game to give it some effort, right? To fill in some of the holes, should they be there, you know, to kind of keep the whole feel of the game going. I'm passing these along for you guys just for that reason, and that reason alone. For those of you that love Fallout 2, and maybe some of these same things have bothered you, maybe a new way to look at it, put it in a new light, and so it makes more sense. But really, honestly, stepping back, tell me you can't see that. Is that really, that is the black and the white of the game. Is you have on one side the Institute riding off the surface, right? And then on the other side, you have the you have the Minutemen trying to settle that same surface and make a livable world for the people that are in it. In other words, this is the hand we're dealt. This is what we have to work with. Let's make the most of it. And let's work for ourselves. And that means getting rid of the Raiders and everyone who's against that, whose obvious sole purpose for living is just to destroy everything they touch. Right? And the more of that you can get out of the way, and the more established and settled you can make the community, at some point, can you actually save the Commonwealth? I mean, essentially make it, you're always going to have bad people. You're going to have corrupt politicians. You're going to have raiders, gangsters, thugs. You're going to have assholes, serial killers. You're going to have people. And if you can deal with them swiftly with something resembling justice, and get rid of them, take them out of your community, is it possible to actually settle the wasteland, at least this part of the wasteland here, and kind of develop something of a pattern for others to follow elsewhere? Just a thought. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. So that button didn't work. Oh, there's a story behind this water plant. They're being accused of having bad water, right? So they would import water from other places and put it in empty water containers with the Weston water plant on it, and they would invite officials in to come taste their water, so they could make it look like their water wasn't just putrid and poisonous and full of lead and radiation and who knows what else. Because of course Poseidon Energy or whoever is dumping all their crap, and you can't keep the water clean fast enough to make up for all the industrial waste being dumped into it everywhere. Oh, I'd like to mention that one of the viewers here is, I guess, had either been to Boston or was from Boston or something, but it mentioned that one little lake that I couldn't pronounce over there by General Atomics is actually in real life has been shut down for being poisonous or toxic, having high mercury levels or something like that. Who knows what else? I thought that was interesting. And of course, leave it to Bethesda to play off of that, right? Of course they would. Of course they would. Oh wow, this place is flooded. Holy crap. Look at that. Damn. Well, obviously that door's not going to open. I'm kind of glad it didn't. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. This is where we're supposed to be, though. Okay. So to get this thing running, we gotta what? We'll start hitting some switches, I guess. Oh, wow. How cool is that? Oh, of course. Can't shoot through that, can I? Well, you know what time it is. Shotty time. See ya. Adios. I bet you this place is packed with Mirelurks, too. Damn. Nice. Alright, so next playthrough when we stream, I was going to just do a playthrough by myself before I stream, and I still might. If I really pack in the hours, I might get a playthrough done in a couple days, just for myself. You guys won't know it, you'll just be watching these. But, yeah, I may have to sneak some private time with Fallout 4, which I haven't had yet, and I'm needing some of that in my life. Sorry, it's just the way it is. But, when we stream, I'm thinking we'll go ahead and put together a build, right? That'll be kind of one of the purposes. When we do our playthrough, we'll go through. I was thinking we'll rely specifically on the build to make up for any inadequacies. So we'll run with clothing and leather only. And when I say leather, I can count Raider gear, because Raider gear is actually, and sometimes a little heavier, and it almost always has the lowest stats. Raider and leather are pretty much the same. Unload all that junk. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate that, Piper. It's not the only reason I have around, honest. So Raider gear and or leather. But we might find some with legendary stuff like that boosts, you know, I don't know, charisma, perception, endurance, blah blah blah, this and that type of thing or whatever. But and then I'll probably run. I like this corset that Kate has. I don't know if it's unique, if it's the only one in the game. I haven't seen another one yet, so I'm thinking that it might be. But either way, we'll go ahead once we meet Kate. We'll run around this one. So we'll have clothing and basic armor, light armor, Raider and or leather. No combat armor. No combat armor. All right, so we'll go ahead and cross that out too. Combat armor actually has, well, not compared to power armor, it doesn't, but for a light armor, it's actually lighter than leather and has better stats. Right, so leather / clothing only, and maybe just pipe guns. I won't play a whole lot different than this because, well, this is just pretty much how I play Fallout games. Do my little share of sniping and my little share of running and gunning and what have you. But if y'all want to hang out, nothing else, just hang out and do the Fallout thing. But that'll be the parameters. That'll be the, what would you say, challenge or whatever. I don't know. Pipe guns, clothing, leather. That's it. In fact, even when we go to the glowing sea, well, we might put on the hazmat suit because the hazmat suit has no protection whatsoever other than rads. That's all it does for you. It's 0 on everything else. Although I think it might add 1 to your perception or endurance, maybe? Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it does anything but rad resistance, which is almost 100%, real close to it. It does do that for you. So that might be acceptable. Like I say, you still got to be careful because you really can't get, you don't want to really get hit by anything. Especially considering most of the stuff out in the glowing sea is glowing, legendary, something or another. That type of shit. At least that's what I ran into. Well, you saw it. Y'all were there, so. I guess I deactivated those. I wonder if those would have attacked the miner lurks for me. Probably should have left those on, huh?
What was that?
Enough of this lobster crab nonsense. Enough. I'll take all this stuff, though. Seriously. Alright, so that would be where we're going. I guess we gotta go. We gotta get wet a little bit. I'll take those. So tell me how that sounds. I don't know about restricting it any more than that. I thought about running without any armor at all. Just a basic clothing or outfit set. Maybe even one of the microwave ones, which doesn't give much. It gives like, what, 20, 30 points of protection? Which would be cool as a base under armor and then under power armor, as far as that goes. But in and of itself, microwave is, it's just basically a very small amount of protection with on a set of regular clothing, so you can play like that. We could do that too, but I like the extra carrying capacity because I put like deep pockets on some of my stuff when I mod it, and the thing is I have to actually go find that. That's another thing about the challenge is no modding. We can use mods and all that, but we have to find them. I'm not putting any points into any perks except the ones I need for settlement stuff. In other words, I'm not going to make any mods for my weapons and armor. I'm going to have to find it. So we're going to live off the land. But I can make turrets. That's the exception because I like working on my settlements. I like building stuff for my settlements. I have to have that in my life. So I'm not going to not do that. If anyone's got a problem with that, well, just get over it because I got to have it. In fact, I'm probably going to drop a point into science too. I think I'm going to allow for an extra point in my build to unlock science just so I can make like laser turrets and I can set up some of those light boxes and things. Because I haven't even done that on this one either. I don't have a point in it and haven't put one in there yet. Might get around to it at some point, but we're getting pretty late in the game right now. So probably not going to be a thing. But on my next one, I look forward to doing something like that. All right, well, everything's still clear out here. This place is pretty nasty. No wonder the water tastes bad. Damn. All right, I hope there's not a problem trying to turn in 3 of these things all at once to Preston. Something tells me that might glitch a little bit, or I might have to go redo some. But if not, then we knocked out 3 birds with 1 stone.
You fixed our water problem, didn't you?
That's right.
That's marvelous, darling. Simply marvelous. Here, you can have some of our produce. I'll ask Greenie to give you a discount, too, if there's anything else you need. Now I simply must get back to work. Ta-ta!
Awesome. Okay. There'll probably be some stuff to scrap around here, but it doesn't look like much. Probably gonna have to set up a supply line with somewhere. There's a handful of tires, but that's about it. Kind of hard getting a wall around this place because it's huge. And I did what I could. This might be a problem area right there. I got a missile launcher set up, so that might help. And then I've got a gate. I don't know that I need caravans coming here. I might close this off later with just some pieces of wall. I may not need that, but that is the way the traders come through. So I have a place for traders to stop right there, which kind of leaves them out in the open if we get attacked, but I can't assume we're going to get attacked 24/7, you know. I don't know. Anyway. But there we go. At least I've got some protection up here. I wonder if these robots are considered essential NPCs, or can they actually get... I would hate to lose any of these robots. They're too cool. All right, well, let's go turn it in, Preston. I think we did our good deed for the day, right? Helped out some folks. Helped out the robot. Well, those robots are cool. They'll have their TV personalities. That is awesome. Who thinks of this stuff? Where'd he go? He's on a mission.
Hey there.
Bad news. The Institute has been scouting the castle. Looks like they're getting ready for a major attack. If they can knock out the castle, it could set us back to square one. We can't let that happen again. I've sent word for all available Minutemen to rally at the castle. We've got to win this one.
Okay. Well, that throws a wrench in the machine, doesn't it? Then that's what we're going to do. And that's where we'll start the next one then. Because it doesn't look like I can turn this stuff in until we deal with this little issue. I'm not even going to talk to him again because that'll probably trigger it. All right. Well, you know where we'll be at on the next one. All right. Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click the button up top. And if you want to catch the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, you can click the image in the middle. Glad to have you. All right. I will catch you guys in the next one. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.